The poet's eye, in a fine frenzy rolling, doth glance from heaven to earth, from earth to heaven. And as imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shapes and gives to airy nothing a local habitation and a name. Hello, I am Christopher W. Jones.
Strong.
I like to run around the woods and recite Shakespeare. I do not go a day driving home listening to ESPN without hearing 3 or 4 phrases coined by William Shakespeare. So that makes me laugh with glee. So aside from hearing the language repeated by people that are not even probably aware of where it's coming from, it awakens my brain and my mouth and the sounds that it forces you to work harder to convey thoughts. It activates things that the regular patterns and vernacular that we have just simply don't do alone. So it's a little engine that's there that kind of kicks me back into a place that nothing else has ever been able to do. The lunatic, the lover, and the poet are of imagination all compact. One sees more. My favorite role I've played is Tybalt. I'm great at dying, and I love a sword in my hand. And it's also one of the more challenging roles because I was not allowed to rely on the text to get me through the play. So a very physical role that is probably beyond me now.
Nothing.
Such tricks hath strong imagination, that if it would but apprehend some joy, it
Comprehend
takes
some bringer of
a lot
that
of
joy.
work, a lot of prep, a lot of burying it deep into your heartbeat. So when you can release it, it is free and spontaneous and brilliant. It's one of my favorite journeys he takes in Act 5, where he jumps from mocking the lovers returning from the forest and all of these magical stories that seem quite absurd to him saying towards the end of the play, "'Tis almost fairy time, it's time to retreat to bed." So something happens to him after this play is done, full of humor and glory and quite moving moments. And something taps into him where he begins to maybe think that there is quite literally some magic in the air right above him. More strange than true. I never may believe these antic fables nor these fairy toys. Lovers and madmen have such seething brains, such shaping fantasies, that apprehend more than cool reason ever comprehends. The lunatic, the lover, and the poet are of imagination all compact. One sees more devils than vast hell can hold, that is the madman. The lover, all is frantic, sees Helen's beauty in a brow of Egypt. The poet's eye, in a fine frenzy rolling, doth glance from heaven to earth, from earth to heaven. And as imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shapes and gives to airy nothing a local habitation and a name. Such tricks hath strong imagination, that if it would but apprehend some joy, it comprehends some bringer of that joy. Or in the night, imagining some fear, how easy is a bush supposed a bear?